call. Clyde Narcomi,
Here.
Harry Mythalo,
Here.
Sonia Nevaquoya, Jonathan Poway,
Here.
Jerry Tashaqua, Susan Cothran, here. Four people. We do not have a quorum, once again. Before we take discussion, before we go any farther with this meeting,
We have a prayer.
and before we have a prayer, we would like to ask the attorneys to please leave, since we do not have an established quorum. Thank you.
That's that brief. CBC. Mark. Yeah, Mark, yeah. Yes, yes.
That's my friend.
There goes the lawyers that wants to shut down the Comanche operation. They're behind it.
At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Mark Wadua to say a prayer for us, please.
Come in agreement with me. Heavenly Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus, that name which is above all names, against lying, against perverseness, against depression, fear, anger, Father. Father, I say that you are Lord of the Comanche Nation, the Numanu. On this day, Father, this year of Jubilee, the year of restoration, the year of Adar, the month of Adar, where you see and taste that the Lord is good. So, Father, you're doing a new thing in the year 2016. So, Father, I say today begins a new dialogue with you and with the nation, Father. Father, I speak to you, glory. I ask that you give wisdom to our leaders. Bless the Numanu, the people here, Father. Nami Sutai, Father. Father, we give you all glory in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Well, we had, I think, 13 resolutions on the agenda today. Once again, 4 of those resolutions were to take to the banks to remove Wallace Coffee and Willie Owens from some of the accounts that we have, which isn't getting done. Also, I had a resolution on there to approve, I told you guys last time, to approve a different attorney to work with us on the forensic audit. The allegiance with this Crow and Dunleavy, I feel, is just too strong to the previous administration. I do not feel I would get, or we would get as a CBC, true advice that would be in the best interest of the Comanche people. So hence I have a resolution to work with another attorney that I wanted to get passed. And since that's not getting done, there's 13 of them on the agenda. And what we're going to do, I'm sorry, hey, what?
That's why he encouraged everybody to show up.
Yes, I was going to say. That's why we have called for a special general council, March the 19th at 1:30 in the afternoon. We're going to have to address some issues that we can't seem to be getting done without a quorum. And as the Constitution states, the General Council is the supreme governing body, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. So we will be bringing these resolutions to you, the people, to give us the authority to pass these resolutions. You will have the opportunity to read each and every one of them. And you will have a chance to ask questions if you choose to do so. but we do need your help. And the only thing we can do at this time, since we can't seem to get a quorum to work with us, is to take it to the people. So that will be done March the 19th, and it will start at 1:30. Sonia Nevaquoya's recall is at 10 in the morning. We will, after the recall, we will cease that meeting, adjourn it, provide a sack lunch for our elders and our people, and then we will reconvene, have you re-sign in new armbands, and then we will start the 1:30 General Council to deal with some of the issues that are pressing, which will also be to discuss some of the budget items that are on the budget now. Concerns several people, a lot of people, and they want to talk about it. And we have nothing to hide, so we're welcoming this 19th meeting. Mr. Wadua?
Vice President, Vice Chairman Copley, is it, correct me if I'm wrong, is there just one agenda item you can do in a special tribal council?
No, I just said there's going to be several. There's one to deal with to discuss the budget, resolutions, and other business.
And the recall is only one item, but it's the general.
Yeah, the recall is in the morning, Norm. It's totally separate than the afternoon general council meeting.
It's another meeting.
It's another meeting.
Some people on the internet have been questioning these meetings. And my response to them was, do you want things to go on the way they are? You know, because Sonia's not here. She's
Well,
been
let me
here.
address that real quick, because we got a response back from the attorneys that we just asked to leave, and I'm hoping the general counsel will help us address that also. These attorneys have not worked in the best interest of the Comanche people. If it was up to Crow and Dunleavy, and I think the rest of the CBC can agree with me, I would think, they wanted us to shut down. They literally wanted us to shut down from the time that Chairman Coffey resigned.
Why?
There's nothing in the Constitution, according to them, that lets us proceed on. Because we were so close to a general council, we couldn't call another meeting to elect a chairman. So based upon the information that we were given, it was we should shut down. That means all things would cease to exist. That means complex would have had to shut down. Everybody would have had to go home, no paychecks and no services to anyone for about 4 to 4.5 months. And we chose to not adhere to that, because I talked to 2 separate attorneys that said that that was just ludicrous. And one of them is a very renowned Comanche attorney. And he said that our Constitution is not designed for our government to shut down. It doesn't operate that way. That's why we have officers. That's why we have a chairman. That's why we have a vice chairman and a secretary treasurer. We are to proceed on, not to cease because a chairman decides to retire at the last minute. So I'm hoping that the general counsel will help us address this issue with these attorneys, because in my opinion, they're not doing anything to help the Comanche people. And in fact, they're trying to take the opposite of helping us. They're wanting us to shut down. And I just think that's ludicrous. And I'm not just making that opinion on my own. Like I told you, I talked to 2 separate attorneys, a Tulsa attorney and a local, well, not local, but a Comanche attorney. And they both said that that was ludicrous information.
Did they give that to you in an official message?
Yes, sir, they did. I just got it yesterday. Yes. Here it is, and I'll make copies and pass that out for the general counsel.
Sure, odd advice.
Very odd advice. I feel like they're still working under the guise of previous administration. I feel like the previous administration still has their hands very much in our business. And there's too much, that's why I'm saying there's too much of an allegiance with this Crow and Dunleavy and Mr. McBride, in my opinion. There's too much allegiance there, and I think it's in our best interest to do something about it. Okay. Yes, Billy?
How many meetings have we had without a quorum, without Ms. Navakoy showing up or Secretary Treasurer?
Oh, well, they showed up in our,
Showed up in February.
no, January meeting, didn't they? January, they showed up, so February, March, too.
And is Mr. or Secretary Treasurer, is he just not going to participate anymore?
I can't answer that. He doesn't contact me. He has no communication with me whatsoever. In fact, yesterday, everybody was picking up their books to be prepared for this meeting. Rest of the CBC picked up their books in plenty of time to review the information. And Mr. Toshaqua wanted our secretaries to bring his to him at the gaming center. And two of our lady employees that had nothing to do with this took him his book.
Fire them.
So he doesn't communicate with me whatsoever. For whatever reason, he has an issue with me stepping up and trying to keep the tribe in a forward motion. There's a lot of things that go on in a daily operation that we have to continue to do in order to keep our tribe operating. And I told you last time when we had the Friday meeting that he walked out on, that I am going to sit here and I will be interim chairman until somebody drags me out by my hair. So I've got to keep the tribe moving forward. I'm sorry, he had his hand up first, Gabby.
Willie.
I'll get you next. Willie?
Okay, the November meeting, I was here, and Chairman Clark, he said a prayer, and y'all, hey, meeting wasn't adjourned. So continued meeting, right? Well, December, no quorum. January, no quorum. February, no quorum. You had a special meeting, no quorum. Now, why do I say February meeting, no quorum? That man held up those resolutions. Everybody remember that?
Right.
What'd he say? I'm not signing them, right? You know what? That Nolan voids that first February meeting.
That's
So
right.
it's 4.
Okay.
They're out.
That's right.
That's what the
That's 4 meetings. They're
March-
out, Clyde.
March
If he can't
19th.
attest to those resolutions, that's a null and void meeting.
He's
They're
right.
out.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
Consecutive. Gotta be
Yeah.
consecutive.
What has been, Henry? Has been. We'll have to count on that. Yes, Billy. I'm sorry. He had a question first. I'm sorry, Belliente. He did. He had his hand up.
At the last annual meeting, I told McBride that he should help the FBI in their criminal investigation. And he told me that if he was directed to do it, so I said, that's a good idea. And so maybe we could do a resolution at the meeting on the 19th to direct the attorneys to assist the FBI. I don't know if it does any good in their federal, in our criminal trust.
In all this process, with all these questions going on, with all the discrepancies that the attorney claims that we've had, not one time has Mike McBride called me. Not one time has he sent me an email or reached out to me to discuss any of these issues. He'll talk to Jerry Toshaqua, but he won't talk to Susan Cothran.
But
So.
he's the one that made the ideal to
Belliente?
direct him.
I do have one thing to say, is that when Secretary Treasurer and Mr. Navakoy took office, they took an oath to the people based on what their oath was on the Constitution. Now, obviously, they're not following that, and here's another thing is that in your meetings, Mr. Navakoy doesn't show up, but at the same time, the tribe provides her with a $70,000 vehicle. You know, and I would say that all you CBC right here today can say, hey, she's not showing up, she hasn't upheld her oath, so go pick the vehicle up. It's property of the Comanche Nation,
That's
not
right.
hers.
You're right. You're
You
right.
know, and law enforcement can do that.
Yes, sir. Got it.
We don't have a quorum.
We're not that many.
We don't need it, it's the tribe's property.
But what I'm saying, maybe we can direct Griffith to go pick up that car.
Yeah,
Even if they have to go all the way to Thomas and bring it back.
yeah, they can do that.
Or where I heard she hangs out at Apache Casino.
They
I
can
don't
do
know
that too.
where she's at, you know.
It needs to be done.
Any other questions?
Council do that on the 19th.
There you go. Well, that'll be her recall. She'll have to turn it in that day anyway. Yes, sir.
On a good note, working with the two governors and the state senators and representatives, getting liquor by the drink, we don't plan that. Also, we're gonna fix all those roads at Devo, we're gonna go by the byways. Also, I'm working on a grant, which Pink, okay, all I need is a resolution. So we're looking at $5 billion in revenue to the state and to the tribe. And this is why I went to the governor, because of the situation, he knows about the situation. So you're not gonna be shut down, so don't worry about that. It comes from the President of the United States too. So things are looking good.
Okay,
We'll get that little squabbling out of the way, and the rest will be done with.
thank you. Yes,
We're
Beverly?
told that she's got 2 vehicles, one red one and then that.
No,
No?
she has one.
One?
She has one.
Yes, she only
The
has.
red one's a dare vehicle now for the
A dare?
police officers.
Are there any other questions?
Uh-huh.
For everybody's information, since Wallace resigned, well, his vehicle's been sitting over here parked. No one has drove it. Ever since we got rid of Will Owens, the TA's vehicle,
Sitting there.
sitting over there parked. The last time we paid for gas, when these guys were running the show, I was told it was either $60,000 or $80,000 every time we had to fill up our tanks, our gas tanks. Last month when we filled it up, $20,000. A lot of difference.
Yes.
A lot of difference. Now I want to read something to you guys. Y'all probably already know it. There's a lot of you guys don't know it, especially with this live stream. And I'm going to tell you why I'm reading this after I give you the figures. The past 5 years, Willie Owens was the TA. Past 5 years since 2011. Now this is from Finley and Cook. This ain't from Clyde Narcombe. It's from Finley and Cook. 2011, overspent $974,000. 2012, overspent $4 million. 2013, $4 million. 4.8. 2014, $14 million. 2015, $3.6 million. That's not counting a $10 million that they spent and that they had in reserve.
11 million.
11 million. So this is 14 million, 2015. Now the reason I'm telling you guys, especially the ones on this live stream, we heard that he's going to run for chairman. Just based on this information, why in the heck would anybody vote for him? Because he deprived all you people and your kids of services. All this money that is short, that deprive everybody of services. That's why you come up here a lot of times, oh, we don't have no money. No money, no money. I just read you the reasons. So,
They want to know who you're talking about.
if I had done this, I would be ashamed to even show my face. I would be ashamed to show my face in front of my Comanche people.
Who are you talking about? They don't-
Mr. Narcombe?
I'm talking about Will Owens, the past tribal administrator.
In 2015, it's 14 million, and
Four-
they used a reserve for 11 million, so altogether they spent 25 million unbudgeted.
Yeah.
Now, in 2015, now let's go back, 2015. Who was the Secretary Treasurer at that time? From 14 and 15? Tasha Quah. So there's two people that's you can blame for that. Tasha Quah, our Secretary Treasurer, and Will Owens, our TA.
Mr. Narcombe, since you've read that, Somebody's been tearing me up on the internet. Bottom line is this.
Stay off that internet.
I need to ask Mr. Clyde Narcombe, since you were on the business committee at that time, these allegations, were they true?
You mean on Willie?
Willie Nelson.
Oh, I haven't,
Wait a minute. You're the only one on this chair. I don't want a big oak to bash here. Sir, those allegations, were they true on me?
I haven't read them, no one has ever told me
Well,
what they
okay.
are.
We got our chief of police here. Sir, were those allegations true? Yes or no?
You don't know.
Against Willie Nelson?
No, they weren't true.
Which specific ones are you talking about?
Every one of them.
I haven't seen the list.
Name them. A lot of them are true. A lot of them are
Okay,
true.
Clyde, the reason I'm asking is, we're dealing with somebody that has misappropriated money. Did I misappropriate money?
Was there proof?
Now, that's one thing I can say for Willie Nelson. When he was the tribal administrator, he overspent, but it was $1,000. Nothing compared to this. Nothing.
I did have an appeal. The person that was on the appeal is here in the audience. Mr. Pokowatchit, could you please tell these people what the appeal board found?
There's more allegations than that.
This is America, and to me, folks, this is why we need a court. The CBC should not be the jury, the prosecutor, and the judge.
Amen.
We've got to have a court.
And
So
I
things
agree
like
with that.
this are
I
done.
agree. And we'll be working on that.
Okay, well, we actually had a court on my case, and here's the appeal board guy.
I sat on the board, and we dropped all charges against him. There was nothing in there that was valid. And the older lady that sat on that board with us, she's from Hatchie. To me, she looked like a white woman. I don't know who she was. But anyway, she was convinced that Willie Nelson was guilty.
Racial.
And we looked at it and studied it, and we voted to drop the charges against him. But it turned out that they still recalled him, and I think that he was done wrong because supposedly that he had a fire drill out here. That was one of the main items against him, and that there were fire trucks here from all over the county parked out here. I was out here that day. There was only one fire truck out here, and it was the Comanche tribal road truck. There was no fire trucks out here. I was out here that day. I know what happened. And I think that he was wrongly dismissed as a, Mr. Burgess is my relative. He was the chairman at the time. I was sitting with Willie Nelson in front of the office out here on the bench, and our attorneys came out and said that we were informed to tell you, Mr. Nelson, as of now, you're no longer the tribal administrator. And I said, well, how can y'all decide that? You don't have a quorum in there. You only have 2 committeemen in there, 2 representatives, and you lawyers. They ignored me. They said, Mr. Nelson, we were informed to tell you that you are no longer the administrator. And then the next thing you know, they had a recall on him. I think he was ousted illegally. And on that board, we dropped all charges against him, but he was still railroaded out of here. And I don't think that's right because he was trying to do a decent job. And I will say this, he was got a little bit of hot-headed at times, but you know, we all do
A
that.
lot of times.
But he asked me to speak on that, and so I just wanted to say what I did on that board.
Thank you, sir. And, you know, Chairman Mike and I, we've talked at funerals, past chairman. You know, it's all water underneath the bridge, but it comes to this, people. I hate to see you elected, Johnny, Clyde, Susan, Harry. I hate to see you guys have things dumped on you to be the judge, the jury, and the prosecution. So I see $40,000 on the budget for a court. Man, I sure hope you guys get a court. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Well, it's not going to be dumped in our lap. That's why we're taking it to the general counsel. I appreciate your time. Also, back to the budget. I'd like to address what Mr. Narcomi was talking about and stuff. And I would like for you people to know that the CBC that sits here now has done everything in their power to curtail the wasteful spending. We're crawling out of a hole little at a time, and we're getting there. We're not taking useless trips. I've been in office 9 months and I have not been on one trip. No one has been on a trip while I've been on this CBC. We're not driving vehicles. All the vehicles are parked out here. If I have my wish come April and we get everything situated, I would like to pass a resolution that there's no more free cars. No more cars for anyone, including the chairman. We have plenty of used cars out there that these guys have brought back. We can start a carpool. If you want to do tribal business, check it out. Go do tribal business, bring it back, park it, go home in your own vehicle. It won't be a 24/7 car anymore with free gas. If you can't get up here on your own, then maybe you should rethink about running for office. And I would like for you to know that we have worked very hard to crawl out of this hole. We've got the forensic audit started. We have them coming Monday. The SWAT team will be here Monday. And they're going to be a SWAT team, I'm telling you. It's going to take a while. It will not happen overnight. I don't even have a time frame to report to you at this time, but hopefully we will know more. They will be here all day Monday and all day Tuesday. We're cooperating as much as we can with them. It's hard to find all the documents that they would like, but I feel confident that these people are going to get the job done. Very professional, very easy to work with. We couldn't have picked a better company to do business with. They're very cooperative. And anyway, I just wanted you to know that we are getting out of debt. And thanks to Mr. Jimmy Audeberry, our TA, and us working tightly together, we're getting there.
One other thing on our tribal administrator. When he got recalled or terminated, at the time he was released, I just found this out yesterday. We had $73,000 in the bank. $73,000 of a multi-million-dollar operation. As of this week, I learned that we got over $2 million.
Yep.
So that ought to tell you guys something about this man right over here.
And there were certain people that were taken out of office that still owe the tribe money from the advance pay that was started, where employees could take advance pay. That doesn't happen now. But there are some people that are not in office right now that left owing the tribe money.
And they run him?
He's trying to run now for chairman.
No way.
That tells you who I'm talking about. Yeah, Gabby. Gabby?
That's embezzlement. Right. You know, showcase. Anyway, but important factor left out on all this overspent was,
Question.
I don't know, 14 million here, all this billions.
Yeah, Mike.
40% of that was supposed to go to the per capita. So it was money out of everybody's pocket. And one simple thing everybody should know, each year we have a gaming revenue of about 60 million, but our budget's 50, so we have a 10 million left over. And that's what they used for slush fund all these years. So since '02 to now, there's over 180 million that's unbudgeted gaming revenue, and it's all gone. And 40% of that was supposed to be for a per cap.
We will be working on trying to get the 40% or 60% established. We will work on that. There's no, I've already talked to the attorney, not this attorney, but the other attorney, and that's something that we can start working on just as soon as we get stabilized.
Let it be known, in November, when we had our last, our meeting, some of you guys were here, I instructed our McBride, our lawyer, to type up a letter, get a letter ready for that 60%. There was 8 questions that needed to be filled out, answered. That was November the 1st, here we are, what, March, how many months is that? 5 months. I ain't heard a word since then. I inquired about it, nothing. So when it comes time to vote for them new lawyers, April, what's the date?
We're
April
gonna
what?
handle it March 19th.
No, new lawyers on the general election, April what, anybody know?
16.
April the 16th, we vote new lawyers,
Why not handle it?
don't vote for them,
19th of this month.
sir.
Why can't we handle it the 19th of this month?
You can.
We
You're
are
the
We can have a general
counsel.
counsel.
We're gonna have to
Yes,
vote
you
for
We
it.
can.
can't hire new lawyers at that time.
Well, why not?
Well,
They'll sue us.
I
We can hire
wanna,
it.
No, I've read the contract. All we gotta do is give them a written letter telling them that we don't want their services anymore. And the contract is old. They haven't, I have not seen a new one. I requested their contract, and there's nothing in there that,
So are we gonna have law firms that present, in
we'll
April?
put it out.
That will consider that.
We'll put it out on our website here pretty quick and stuff to request them. Mr. Burgess had his hand up a while ago, and I'm sorry I didn't see it, but Mr. Mithalo brought it to my attention. Did you have a question?
Yeah, you brought up something about the vehicles.
Yes, sir.
The plan in the past was to start our own motor pool, as you stated,
Yes.
and that motor pool was to have every program rent the vehicles to get away from GSA, which was being overextended, and people weren't compliant with GSA regulations. Motor pools, separate from tribal government, would hire 3 to 5 people to maintain all that, keep it going. So those vehicles could earn you some money in the long run.
Good. Something to think about. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was thinking about, why come we can't have our own bank? Now, I was told that we could. Now, I'm gonna give you an example. Shawnee, after T. Shawnee, they come in there and they stole 30 million. Money laundering, bank fraud, casino skimming, 80 million, Deshada, 400 million, and Pueblo, 45 million, Kiowa. This is where your money's going. This is why you need your own bank. And this is how I sold the investors on them, because we got the same problem. Where there's grain, there's rats. Y'all need to get y'all's own bank. That's what you need. That'll stop a lot of this. Because it's hard, it's not, doesn't it good to have security, surveillance, police, and banking with criminals. Who's handling and controlling your money? Criminals. That's where you need your own bank.
Thank you. Eleanor, she had her hand up first. Eleanor?
Well, I have a couple of things. First of all, I remember when Jerry Tashaqua walked out of the CBC meeting, and he did not recognize you as the interim chairman. But some of the CBC failed to realize that they are in violation of the Constitution simply because they have relatives working for the tribe. So that there are CBC members that are illegally seated, namely Sonia Nevakoya. She has her sister working at the tourism center. Also, too, is Jerry Tashaqua, the very person who says he cannot recognize you as the interim chairman. His brother's been working for the casinos for years. And so, and then...
He ain't been working, he's just been there.
Yeah, well, he's drawing a paycheck. He's drawing a paycheck, has been drawing a paycheck for years, and especially since Jerry's been in office. We also have Harry Mithlow. He's a commissioner, he's on the CBC, he's also a tax commissioner, and his son is one of the primary staff members of the tax commission. These are violations of the Constitution, and I'm hoping that come the 19th of March, when you call this tribal council meeting, that this will be on the top of the agenda to make these people abide by the Constitution and forfeit their office for refusing to abide by the Constitution and also accepting embezzlement or doing embezzlement by giving their family members payments, illegal payments for their employment with the tribe. Something needs to be done. That's an abuse of authority, and I think the tribal council needs an opportunity to set the record straight. Make these people abide by the Constitution if they're gonna sit right there. That's an abuse of authority, and it's gotta stop. I mean, would you do that? I don't think so. He hasn't. You know, he's had family, but they're not working there no more, so same with Jonathan. Their families, they've chosen to set the record straight, and I think the rest of them need to do that. And if they, since they have refused to set the record straight and have allowed for illegal payments to their family, they need to forfeit their office and be gone. And I think the tribal council needs that opportunity to vote and set that record straight on the 19th. That should be on the top of the agenda. It would for me, simply because that man that's not here today, Jerry Tashikwa, said that he would not recognize you as interim chairman when he's been illegally seated since the day he was elected. We need to set that record straight. The other thing is, our previous chairman, Wallace Coffey, he declared himself retired. By his own declaration, he made himself retired. But we have a petition with 226 good signatures. Our people took the time to sign it, and the Constitution says that a recall is required to be called. Now, it's been 70 days or so since since that recall was validated. It had 226 signatures. Our people here want a recall on Wallace Coffey for the crimes that he committed against the nation. And I think that needs to be called. And I sent you a letter, and I've been waiting for a response. And I really feel strongly that the tribal council on the 19th needs to decide whether that recall needs to be done or not. We need to enforce the law. We can't afford these people to continue to commit crimes against the nation and let it slide. It's an abuse of authority. That's okay. And then the other thing is, I had requested $20,000 for Comanche Tribal Veterans Association. It wasn't on the budget, but I see CIVA got an additional $10,000. So I want something done about that too.
Okay, Beverly, go ahead.
Well, I'm always on the internet because that's where I get my information. And the person that wants to run for office is saying that the present TA is still paying people out in Albuquerque, giving them money. Is that true?
What person?
Which ones?
What
Who?
person?
You said the person said it, what person?
Yeah.
On the internet?
Yeah, what person?
Nelson.
Well, ask him, he's right there.
Yeah.
They're right.
TA's right there, ask him.
Where's, well, they're, on the internet, they're saying that it's
I don't know
going,
anything about paying nobody in Albuquerque. That's a simple answer. I
yeah,
don't know nothing about that.
I know, I'm just saying it because
So whoever said it, tell me who it is. I'm not aware of it.
Nelson's the one saying it, spreading
Where is
it.
he?
Because he's running for office, he shouldn't do those kind of things.
So where is he?
Yeah, I don't know.
Mr. Wadud?
Yes. You mentioned you didn't have a contract for the attorneys. You know, there's a depository with Finley and Cook. Have you approached them on that?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm
Finley and Cook has
congested,
a-
I can't hear you.
Finley and Cook has a depository of all contracts supposedly.
Yes, I got
Yeah.
it.
You got the contract for the attorneys?
Yes, sir, I
Oh, you
did.
said you didn't have it earlier.
No, I did not. I said I had it and I've looked it over. There's nothing in there that says that we have to retain them. We
Well, this
just give
leads-
them a letter
Okay.
that we don't want their
This
services
leads me
anymore.
to a comment. Can we not replace Finley and Cook also?
Sure we can. We can replace anyone we want. You guys can do that at any given time when we have our general council. You can put in who you want. And we will go ahead and advertise for people too, for the accounting firms. Yes, sir, Mr. Whitewood?
I was looking at the newspaper, several days ago, and it listed a proposed budget. And in that budget, it had the contribution that the tax division, their contribution, the amount was like a little over $900,000.
Right.
Well, up until the last 2 or 3 years ago, the tax contribution has always been like 2.4, 2.5, 2.6. Now we've got it down to 900,000. I'd like for y'all to ask the tax people to be at that general council on the 19th, because I'd like to ask Mr. Noni why that amount.
Mike could answer that question for you. Go ahead.
I want that man personally to answer, so it won't be something that you passed along.
Okay.
Because that's serious.
Yes.
I'd like to know if he spent that money, I'd like for him to bring the resolutions, the general council resolution that authorizes him to pull down money before our budget year, our new budget year.
Okay.
Because these people just give out money without any authorization from the general council when we're right in the whole equation, meaning the general council, when they use their own discrepancy to hand out money. I'd like to know why they did it and what document they used to do it.
I'll ask.
Thank you.
I'd like to point out in in March Comanche newspaper, on page 3 is Coffee's Fantasy World. when he retired, he said he retired, and he talks about how great he is, and he's done a lot of stuff. He's gonna put a McDonald's, and everybody's gonna work at McDonald's on KCA land. Anyway, and then on page 10, I have recommendations of the annual budget, FY17, and this is his accomplishments. There's slush funds all over the place, CONI's in there, the college, charitable donations, a tourist center, Jake Sharp sole source budgets, the water park, water well, our attorneys are in here. Anyway, it's on page 10, and then on page, there's a half a page on page 13. So if you get a chance, you haven't got the paper, well, a lot of it's in here, recommendations. Slush funds, like I said, slush funds all over. That's all Coffee's accomplishments. And Owens too, Willie Owens.
Is there anybody in here that's retired from some sort of business or government or anything? Let me ask you a question.
I am.
You're retired. Do you get a monthly check from?
Yes.
Okay, you get a retirement check.
Right.
All right, now my next question is to Jimmy. Jimmy,
Yes.
since our past chairman says that he retired, is this Comanche government, are they mailing him a check every month?
No, not that I'm aware
So
of.
how can he say he retired if he's not getting a monthly check?
Well, anybody can say they retired, but it doesn't mean they're gonna get any kind of income.
It doesn't come straight from the tribe either.
If everybody knows, when you retire or resign, that still leaves a vacancy. It means the same thing. Retire, resign, quit. You still leaving this spot vacant. Means the same thing. And one more question to Jimmy. Make it clear now.
All right.
Willie Owens, since we terminated him or fired, whatever we did to him, is he eligible to run for any office this coming April? Should he be? eligible?
You know, honestly, I don't know. That's up to the people to decide. I mean, I don't have that answer about who is eligible or ineligible. That would be up to the people and the election board to make the determinations in you, the CBC. The way that all those regulations, resolutions, and the Constitution, so I can't answer that myself.
Okay, but
Mr. Oliver, oh, go ahead.
in our policy procedures, it says,
Well,
if
for
you
a
get
year,
fired,
They're not eligible for working for the tribe for a year, is what the policy says.
It used to be 3 years, but it was changed by, where is he? Willie Nelson. It used to be 3 years that they couldn't come back to work. Now it was changed by him to 1 year. So they're eligible to come back in 1 year.
Because he knew he was getting recalled.
But I would like to ask Mr. Audiberry, did the previous TA leave here owing the tribe money?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
yep.
She had her hand up
According
first,
to
Mike.
the policies and procedures, if you get fired or laid off or terminated, you can't come back and work for the tribe for 1 year. So Willie Owens got terminated or fired or laid off in October of 2015. Well, he's not eligible to run for anything until 2017. That's why everybody, that's the way you read it, Jimmy? Is that the way you read that?
No.
For employment, I don't know, that's like a gray area. I mean, honestly, it's gonna have to come back to the people to make that decision.
Jimmy.
I just know that as an employee, that's what the limit is. They can't for 1 year.
For 1 year, right?
So it's a gray area because the TA is also considered an employee as well as a chairman. But that's really up to the people. And I think, you know, at your meeting, maybe that's a question that you should ask and let the people give us directions on whether you want this person to be able to run again or not. Just very simple.
Because he resigned as well, didn't he?
Yes.
Well, go to the Constitution. The Constitution spells it out. Y'all are the ones that supposed to evaluate and see who qualifies.
Well, you're gonna have to give us the power to do that. We don't have a quorum to act. That's why we're coming to you.
You still CBC members.
Yeah,
You don't
it's
have
not-
to have a.
According to the
Constitution don't speak about
Constitution,
quorum.
you're not supposed to take any action. I don't have it in front of me, but you're not supposed to take any action without a quorum. That's why we're coming to you guys on the 19th.
Okay.
We're taking directives from the from the General Counsel.
Then the general
Yes,
counsel will
ma'am.
just give to y'all. then.
Back to clarify, on page 2 of the March issue of the Comanche newspaper, it says, "A motion to approve the resignation of the chairman was passed 5-0. And so, no matter what his letter says that he's retiring, maybe he's retiring from any public office, but it does say that you had a resolution accepting his resignation.
Right. I had a question for Lenore. You had your hand up when you asked if you retired, and I was wondering, where you retired from? Did it shut down when you retired? Did they seize business because of one person retiring or resigning? No. Okay.
But if you hold the tribe money, you can't run either.
That's what I
Until
would
that
think.
money's paid, you cannot run.
That's what I would think. Yes, that holds more validity to me.
On that issue of the travel administrator, most recently, we had the council that voted to support the suspension, therefore the people spoke. Prior to that, in 2004 and 5, when the CBC said they could terminate me, then I took them to court, and the court ruled that they could not do that because they were not the hiring authority. And forward, the court waited till after April election, when I was reelected, to issue a ruling to overturn Judge Lujan's ruling. But to let you know, the two judges that did not want to hear it on the appeals board were the Indians, voting against the non-Indian judge because she supported the court judge in saying that the people select the TA. Therefore, the people have removed him from office at that last meeting that you had for him.
Correct.
So the people spoke, and it's a moot issue. He can't run. He shouldn't even be employed. And since he owes money, you know, like they said, take him to court, get that money back, whoever stole from us, it's investment. That's what Thomas was telling me. All these other tribes are doing it, and people are paying restitution as well as going to jail for it.
Yes, they are. Yes, Lenore?
I would like to say that when you all come up with candidates, that I really hope that you nominate, and I hope that we elect people that are clean and sober, because everybody that's not here was partying, bringing disgrace to our tribe, and not getting any work done. So if we want work done, we need people that have good reputations, hopefully leadership ability, and we'll get a lot of work done and get caught back up.
Thank you. Yes.
March the 15th is a deadline for a newspaper, so we need to get that statute guy, the attorney's recommendation needs to be printed in our newspaper. You know, that what they said to shut down. That way everybody will know what kind of attorneys we got, or their intelligence or whatever.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Yes, ma'am.
I wish that either general counsel, CBC, someone could figure out a way that when we go to the April general council and we have to hire a TA and we don't know anything about them before we have to vote on them. You know, we hear them for 5 minutes and then we have to go cast a vote on them and then they're hired. We need to figure out a way so we can know about them, we can have background checks done, whatever, before we have to cast our vote and they be hired.
Yes.
I mean, we know him, yes, but before, we voted on people we didn't know anything about.
Well, and another thing we need to do, I feel like, and that's maybe up to the CBC, I don't know, we'll have to check. I'd like to see some guidelines set for our TA.
There you go.
I mean, how about an education, or if you don't have an education, an associate's with a minimum of 5 to 7 years experience in a managerial position.
Better make it 10 years.
Okay, Clyde wants 10 years. But we need to set some guidelines and turn it into a true legitimate job opportunity for the right candidate instead of a popularity contest.
As big as our tribe is, and as much money as we bring in, even though it gets spent, we should be run like a corporation instead of a family business.
Yes.
We need people that have training, have got education, and if we need to, if we don't know how to do it, go to the Chickasaws, go to one of these tribes that have this mentality of a corporation, and they're, I mean, you can't even turn a TV on without seeing their ads, especially Oklahoma City area. Instead of running like I said, like a family business, I'm gonna hire my cousin, I'm gonna hire my aunt, I'm gonna hire my, and then they think that they don't have to be fired because the TA's their relative.
Yes.
And then they don't do their jobs.
That's right.
Well, think about keeping Jimmy in there.
Jill. Yeah, Sandra. You had your hand up first.
I was gonna say, for the CBC, there's no education requirement. For the election board, you at least have to have a high school diploma. And for the TA, it's an excellent idea to have a job description. And you can do that between now and the 19th and, develop one.
Okay.
And then we could vote on it on the 19th.
Great idea.
And then that way, we have a job description and these, and education requirements and that type of thing. That way, when we come April 19th, these individuals that want to run have to at least have those, requirements.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. What, no guidelines for a chairman? No education?
You can,
or-
well, it's up to you. That's a constitution revision.
Okay, thank you, Sandra, that's a good idea. Thank you. Mr. Whitewell, and Mr., go ahead, I'll concede to Mr.
I've been thinking about this for some time. We're trying to reorganize, and we got a good step here. It depends naturally on who we elect, who we nominate, and who we elect. But I think it's past the general counsel's time now. I think we need to acquiesce to the duties of the business committee. I think that maybe the general counsel needs to let try it out, not permanent now, because it's in the Constitution, amendment needs to be done. But I think the general counsel needs to let the CBC take the nominations and choose let them choose the tribal administrator, because who better can these people have the jobs, the resumes submitted to them, and they can evaluate it better than the general counsel can, because we don't know. It's just like you said, a popularity contest. I think we need to have a resolution to give the CBC the authority to choose it this time. Let's see what happens. Can't be any worse than what's happened before. Of course, saying that it's usually worse. But I think it's time to let the general counsel issue a resolution for the business committee to choose qualified candidate tribal administrator. Because they've done a good job. Everyone's applauded Mr. Alderberry, and he's doing a great job. Maybe they can go 2 in a row.
Mr. Burgess?
On that point, to bring up the selection of a TA, and Gene, was it 2006 or 7? The CBC had a resolution, they passed it, that they would take nominations, people would submit their qualifications, and they were looking for people with qualified experience, education, knowledge of federal programs and budgetary. And at that time, Mr. Pica and Mr. John David Wanee were selected and nominated by the body, and then selection was made by the tribal council.
Who was chairman at that time?
Mr. Coffey.
All you have to do is go into the archives
Yes.
or In the Country Today, Law and Constitution, anywhere, it's a national search done. And it had qualifications, it had everything in there.
So there is a resolution in place?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what the CBC did was
Thank
take
you.
all those nominations, and among those nominations, selected the 3 or 4 top qualified and presented them to tribal council, and then everybody at tribal council stood up and talked for themselves. Then the vote was held.
Thank you, appreciate that.
That's good.
06? Gene was
6 or 7? 6 or 7?
2007.
I left at 6.
7? 2007? Okay, thank you. Yes?
Yeah, I was just gonna answer a question on the corporations. I've got a corporation worth over 40 billion. I need those corporations to get those apartments built. They're worldwide, I'm gonna train you, you can go anywhere in the world, provide jobs. And with these 2 governors, and I think with this much, we can get it done. Your per capita around 8,000 to 15,000. And like I said, you can go anywhere in the world, it's gonna be everything down there. But I need those corporations, because I don't have 40 billion. Now, the governor's gonna get that byways program, we're gonna fix all those roads, we're gonna expand that Granville Airport for air packages. I got IHS, put in a water tower and a sewer lagoon, so you people can have a place to live. Last time I came up here, I had the grant, and they turned it down. Now, am I a tribal member, or does the mafia rule this tribe? I'm the tribe, I'm part of the tribe, I'm the landowner. And this is another reason why I went to the governor, because, like I said, it's not just inter-tribal. But I want to bring in corporations in, put people to work, and it would be in excess of 5 billion. This is why the governors are helping me, because they need the revenue off this property too. And I'll work with you people and the corporations. All you gotta do is vote it in. You're gonna draw revenue off all the corporations. You're gonna provide jobs. You go anywhere in the world, they're gonna train you. Not just hotel. It's gonna be everything. Movie theater, shopping, just like rents, Laughlin. So it's up to y'all.
Gene?
Back to the forensic audit. Yeah. Ms. Cochran, on the
Yes, sir.
forensic audit.
Yes, sir.
Have you determined the general areas that you're looking at and prioritize as far as what areas? We can't audit the whole time.
No, it's impossible. They'd be here for decades, and we'd have a national debt.
What areas are we looking at?
Definitely property and procurement, CIP,
Transportation.
transportation, and I believe HIP also.
What about outside those areas?
Uh,
Probably
They said that usually when you go into those areas, they'll splinter off, and that'll lead them into other directions. They'll tie in together. Those are the main ones that have issues.
So you can come back and maybe look at those areas?
Sure, yes. They're working on that now. That's why Monday when they come, they'll be here all day. They've already been here once, and they've already worked a lot with Finley and Cook already. They will be getting with Bledsoe, and they'll physically be here Monday and Tuesday. Their forensic guru on the computers will be here Tuesday, and he will be working in the computers.
Does Finley and Cook have all those accounts that?
They have
the
been
tribe
very
has?
cooperative.
Are
We
there
gave
some
them-
accounts out there that they don't have? I'm sure.
Yeah, there are some. Yes, sir, there are. Yes. Yes. Yes, Billy and Dee.
First of all, I want to say thanks to Gabby. I know we've been sitting here coming to these meetings for years, and Gabby's been talking about forensic audit. Well, we finally have one. I think Gabby's a big contributor to that. He's worked hard on his numbers, and everything that he's put out has been true. You know, and I do want to say one thing, and you mentioned the college earlier. You know, if you guys don't know, we've had it over 10 years now. The Comanche Nation has spent over $25 million on the Comanche Nation College, and we have some board members here and some college employees as well. If they don't get accredited this year, and they're on the budget for $1.9 million, I think the people should decide, you know, instead of spending millions and millions of dollars, maybe we're just not going to make it. You know, I think we're almost up to 28 million, if my numbers are right. But if they want to speak about it, you know, because it's a large number, it's 1.9 million on the budget. How long is the business committee going to allow something that's not producing anything to stand? And I mean, the monies could be better used serving the people in other areas, and I think we as people agree with that. You know, so if there's anybody who wants to comment about that, then feel free.
Mr. Burgess?
Thomas and I'll speak.
If they don't get accredited in April, they're supposed to, accreditation team's coming in. If they don't get accredited, then put all that 1.9 million or whatever into a scholarship budget. I mean, you know, we could get, I don't know, how many, 50 nurses, and a lot of people, get people with, get their masters or PhDs. I mean, it'll be better spent. To me, I mean, we'll get some results out of it. Put it in a scholarship.
That's up to the people to decide
I
that.
think they're gonna bring up, that item, the 19th. The 19th, they're gonna bring that item up, according to what I heard now.
Yes. Mr. Burgess?
My comment, is our president from the college here with you? Lots of you?
3 board members here.
Who are they?
Laura and Francine's our newest one.
Well, my comments are going to be seen as negative by some, but they're positive about education. And I want to know, is the college still affiliated with Cameron University?
No.
Are they affiliated with Bacone?
Yes.
Now, the little college that I'm the president of at Comanche Nation, since my arrival, being there for 4 years, we've gone from 25 students to now we have 50 students enrolled in college. We have 15 students enrolled in certification programs. And my marching order by my board of trustees is to increase enrollment to find funding. Now, our enrollment has increased because of our relationship with Bacone. And our students are getting dual degrees, associates. Then our students are attending a 4-year program online with Bacone, receiving their bachelor's inside of 2 years. And it's been a boon to us financially. So that's why I'm concerned that our college is not increasing their enrollment, and they need to do more outreach. I don't have a budget of $1 million or $2 million. The budget I have that the Pawnee Nation can afford is roughly $90,000. And the other monies that I have for a staff of 8 people come from grants and contracts, performance-wise. And I have to prove myself as a president by now reaching out for other grants and contracts, which HLC is not going to allow as our sustainable cost, meaning monies that support us if the grants go away. Now, Comanche Nation College could be surviving if they were to put some of that money in the bank and not use it. So administratively, maybe Comanche Nation College needs to look at their overhead, so that you're banking that money, so when the tribe says enough is enough, you have something to live on for 2 to 3 years, while your enrollment should be around 200 to 300 students per semester. That brings in all the federal money and the federal dollars. That past president before this one, when he got rid of some of the staff that were working on the acceptance of financial aid, which is where it's at, our college needs to get on that and get that financial aid office so they can receive all the federal monies and all of that, and after 2 years, the tribe would not have to support it. So that's, I hope that our people understand that and go with that plan to support them, and if HLC says no, then yes, we have to do something else.
Yes.
Mike is right, if I may speak. to
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
We have had 250 students at one time. We're down, it doesn't help when the tribal chairman sends the police over to march the president out with no authority. That cost us tremendously because the accreditation agency almost shut us down. That was an act on behalf of the former chairman. Totally inappropriate. But where we are now, as you mentioned, we have a review, our final review in April. Our students are now accredited conditionally. Once we get past this April meeting, we get what's called first year's accreditation or something. But all of our courses right now are accredited, and they have been. People misunderstand that. But I want to address the financial end of it. The financial aid is key to our success. We have had some problems in that area with stuff not being sent in, stuff not being accurate. We now have gotten that all cleaned up, and it is going well. Our goal is to be we can't be totally self-sufficient. OU isn't, OSU isn't, they all have some state money. We will need tribal money, but not what we're getting, not the current budget. So you're right in that we will, and that's our plan, to not depend on the tribe so much. But I want to address what he said about nothing to show for it. We have a number of graduates, one of which is sitting at the table up here. We have a number of graduates. And I think you should all be proud of what the college has done. We're in good shape right now. Robbie Wani is now our president. She's Comanche. She came from OU. She's doing a great job. And I think you'll all be proud of what we're doing. So, but I wanted to comment on the accreditation and on the financial aid stuff. We are required by the accrediting agency to have about 1 year's worth of operating money in the bank. And Lopez was careful about doing that. So, but anyway, I think that's enough. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Francine is our newest board member. Lenore's been on for a lot, and I have been on for some time. So, be happy to answer any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson.
Mrs. Cochran, I work at Cameron University, connected with University of Oklahoma. This year, we're expecting by July, starting the fiscal year for us, about $1.3 billion loss. And so we're having to take money back to the state of Oklahoma. There was a study, by the year 2050, all university and colleges, over 50% of them will collapse. And so that's the reason why many universities are going to web schools, online schools. So unless you have an endowment like Harvard, about $100 billion with wealthy alumni, you're not going to make it very long. It's like a bottomless pit when you start by a sailing boat or a university college. And so we really need to be wise and think twice about maintaining a college. And I love education. I think his ideal would be better with scholarships and other fundings for vouchers for students elsewhere. But we need to really think wise about funding the college.
And the thing about Cameron is they push and push to get people in at the school.
Yes, ma'am.
They're not stagnant. They get people from all over, from Africa, from South America, and they bring them into school here. We don't have that.
My question was, how long are we as a people going to support that? I think I said that we're over 25 million. It should be 25 to 28 million dollars. Now, I know, is it going to take $50 million to get our college accredited? we're over 25 million. How much more is it gonna take
You
from
know,
the
I
tribe?
want to say, your scholarship.
How much
tribe
more
gives
is it gonna
is
take? I'm
$2
speaking,
million
ma'am.
a year.
I'm speaking, ma'am.
You're
I'm
giving
not-
more
I'm
money
speaking, ma'am.
to scholarships than you're giving to
Be
college.
respectful.
And our financial aid person is here, Ekia is here, if you want to ask her any questions. Yeah.
Can I finish?
We'll let that be on private. Y'all can talk to them privately. Go ahead, finish.
That's what I'm saying. It should be up to the people. The governing body of the tribe is the.
And it
is
will
the
be. It
general
will
council.
be. It is
So
up to the
my
people.
question was, how long are we gonna support it?
You'll
How
have
many
to ask
more
the general
millions?
council, Billy
And I
and
will.
Dave.
I'd like to be on that schedule.
Yeah, you have the right to speak.
Every year,
4 or 5.
prior to general council, we get promises and promises and promises. You know, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and it never materializes. You know, they're always, it just goes away after the general council.
And it shows what's happening when we have how many, 4 or 5 presidents since its inception. It's ridiculous to get rid of somebody just because somebody doesn't like somebody. And it's been happening.
Lenore?
Well, that's how we normally operate. If we don't like somebody or somebody thinks we're getting more money than somebody else, we try to eradicate them.
Yeah,
That's the Comanche way. We don't say, well, you're qualified, we're gonna keep you here. Once you find somebody
wait a
doing
minute.
something wrong, you say, well, let's get them out. I don't like them. I don't like their attitude. Let's get them out. That's how the Comanches operate.
Lenore, you had your hand up. Go ahead and
I
speak,
would like
please.
to give a little bit of a history about the Comanche Nation College, because I don't think y'all all know this. When my ex-husband was in the higher education department, he reviewed all the records. He did a survey, and what he found out was our students were not completing their first 2 years because they were low in their math and English. So that was basically why the college was started, and I think Harry knew that, but that's a little bit of history. So Mr. Burgess went to Mr. Walkway, and, you know, all of us in our generation, we all know that we were brought up poor. They wanted something better for our kids. So if, however much money we put in it, I think it's worth it, because our kids will have a step up, and that will keep them out of social services. I myself went to a tribal college, and I had a lot of one-on-one, and I needed a lot of help with algebra because I was an older student. Those students over there get the best of the best help. A lot of one-on-one, there's a lot of cultural aspects, which gives them a sense of pride and a sense of ambition. So I think it's good that that college was started, and our future leaders, we've got kids that have graduated in there, and I really actually got the best education, I believe, from a tribal college. It was Fort Peck College, and I just can't really say enough good about it. So if we put an investment in our kids, I think that's great, because to me, I've worked with kids for 40 years, and I'm a retiree right now, and some of the things that I read is a nation is judged by how they treat their children. And I worked with 70 tribes at Riverside Indian School. And there was very few tribes that put as much funding into their children. I mean, they didn't have shoes, they didn't have anything. And our kids are getting clothes, they're getting all kind of youth programs, summer work programs. So I think that says a lot about our leaders, that they're investing in our children and our youth, and that's gonna give them a better way of life, and they won't be in social services.
Thank you.
I think that's enough on the college, because they're gonna bring that up the 19th. But
Yeah.
let me ask you guys one question here.
We need to.
Don't be bashful. Don't be bashful, because I'm gonna ask y'all something. How many in here are in favor of the college?
All right.
Look like about maybe 15. How many are against it?
15.
Look like
About 15.
Look like about 19 or 20. Okay, now that's enough on that, because it's gonna come up the 19th at the general council, so.
Okay. We have a lunch prepared. It's almost 20 till 12. We'll take just 2 more, and then we're gonna cease. Miss Hendricks?
I think we need to start looking at our boards. Some of the people have been on our board for years and years, and I thought all boards had term limits. Maybe we need to get some new blood on these boards, and that way we can move on and move up. I mean, because there's younger people, there's more ideals out there, and we need to get those.
Good idea. Thank you, Debbie.
I have a comment. Early in my career, and when I decided to go to graduate school, and I'm proud to say that I'm a product of our tribal education system. Because back then, we had tribal priorities, and tribal priorities in education. If you were gonna go to school and get a health degree or a business degree, you were offered a scholarship from the tribe, with one caveat, that you paid every month of funding, you paid it back with service or money. I was selected to go to school in business, and I received 11 months of funding. And every one of those months, probably 3 or 4 times over, I paid back by service. But I signed on a dotted line that given a scholarship, I would pay it back or I would work for the tribe. We need to make that connection. We need scholarship programs. We have a finance department that needs CPAs. We need business people, management people. We need nurses. We need health. We need all those things, or we can do it. And the tribe is the only one that's going to be able to solve our own problems, not anybody else. We're the ones that's going to solve it. And one of these days, some of us are going to retire. But we want to see these young people come in and step up and start doing things for the tribe. That's what I'm
Good
looking
idea,
for.
Jean. Thank you. Thank you, Jean. Miss Mononoke, we're going to end with Miss Mononoke. Go ahead.
I didn't come here to talk about this, I came to talk about something else. That's fun. But they have been asking me for years if I would sit on their board. And I just felt like I was not qualified, and so they've kept asking me. I said, okay. But after hearing the conversation today, I have been at OU since 1982. I've watched students come and go. I've watched students who lived in their cars. I've watched students who didn't have money. I've watched students who lived with their friends to get through college, but they had the determination to get there. One thing that I see, and I was not for the college when it first started. It took me years to evolve to this point. But what I see is I see students coming from 2-year American Indian colleges from all across the nation. They get to OU and they do very well. They usually go on into graduate school, and we have a lot of them that are in our PhD programs that have gone on and are now PhD students. They've gone into law, they've gone in all kinds of things. But what I'm saying is that sometimes our students don't have the same resources. My children, from the day they were born, I told them they were going to college. Well, I've also got lots of nieces and nephews who they have the brains to get there, but they don't have anybody at home to help them. And that's what I'd like to see this school do, is you go out there. I've got 4 or 5 little nieces and nephews right now that need to be in school. So I think these schools do serve a purpose. You get them already, send them through 2 years, send them to OU, and we'll pick them up and make sure they graduate. Or do everything we can to help them. Thank you.
Mr. Wormy, would you please say a prayer for us?
Amen. Sounds like that voting machine's gonna be humming the 19th, don't it?
There's a meal prepared. We hate to see it go to waste. Please stay and visit and eat, please. Thank you.
Hi, Jan. How you doing?
I know.
How you doing, Jan?